Welcome to the Red, White, and You podcast. Tommy Daniels joined by the head coach and general manager of your Allen American, Steve Martinson. And Marty, a couple of big announcements this week. Let's start with the one on Tuesday and the return of C.J. Mott. Mott was here a couple of years ago. Obviously, as you mentioned in your quote, a very fiery guy, very competitive. Talk about C.J. returning to our lineup.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the first thing that comes to mind with him is the experience and, the competitiveness. And we're going to get a young goalie from Minnesota at some point. I don't know, we don't know when, the NHL is going to play and when they're going to be able to sign NHL contracts. So we need two goalies to start the season. And obviously, we've had a lot of success, going back up to Riley Gill. And it's pretty critical that you have a veteran guy, especially when you have a prospect that may not be as consistent as a guy like Mott.
In talking to CJ, obviously he's excited about coming back. Liked what we had as far as the team last year. Very, skilled team with a lot of good young guys, a lot of camaraderie in the room, and he's just excited to come and be a part of what we're building here.
Yeah, I think obviously I liked our team last year, but this year I think the difference is we're going to be a lot grittier. So, we want to be able to be offensive and also be in your face and play the physical game and the physical style that we want to be able to play. So in a lot of those guys that we have are quality team guys and good guys in the locker room. So I'm excited to get things started.
And the other guy that you know very, very well, Dyson Stevenson, was here, was a very popular player when he played in Allen. Of course, was here for our championship seasons, and just a really good guy. He's he kind of what you see is what you get with Dyson. He's one of those guys that would give you the shirt off of his back, but he's also one of those guys that's going to stand up for his teammates, and we witnessed that firsthand.
Yeah, he's obviously extremely tough but he's a really good player, block shots, team guy, does all the little things right, leads by example off the ice and on the ice. And we missed him the last few years, and last year he was in the American League all season long, and so I think he's going to come to our team and where he left off. I think he was a great leader, and he's in it, and the fans love him. He comes to play hard every night, finishes his checks, and when we had success in the playoffs, that Hansen, Asuchuk, Stevenson line was really one of our best lines throughout the playoffs, and they played against the other teams, number one line. So it's great to have Dyson back.
And, that was where I was going to go next and just talk about how well he played. It seems like he's got a better offensively, too, over the last few years. I know when he was in Wichita for those couple of years, that he had a really good start before he got injured and, was on their power play and playing very, very well. Is his offensive game and what you see even better than when we had him here?
Yeah, I mean, we had him right out of junior. It was his first and second years and third years out of junior. So obviously those players develop. I mean, everybody develops, and some players, the younger you are, typically the more you develop at a faster rate. So, I mean, he's a better player. He's a stronger player. And, I'm not, he's probably even a better leader because he's got more experience. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to come in here and help. And, I got some ideas with lines, and some of these guys that we have. And the big question mark is, if and when we get the contracted guys and how that affects, what we thought we were going to have versus, what we're going to have to start the season.
And just another one of those guys, too, with, a lot of leadership experience, wore the C in Wichita, with Asuchuk here, been here a long time. Obviously, he wearing the C along with Van Warmer. You got a lot of leadership in that locker room.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, I've never really put as much emphasis on the captain as the leaders. It's obviously we've had some great captains but at our level, I think it's very hard you've got a lot of different things going on. It's very hard to expect the captains to be able to solve things. There's so many factors that go in. It's different than an NHL team. So, the more guys that you have, we have a lot of guys that were captains, of their team. And, there's a whole rest of the story. Someday I'll tell the rest of the story with the deal with Dyson and Wichita. It's not time to tell it yet, but it was a tough situation to have him go, and it's just nice to have him back.
Well, even though the abbreviated schedule, we have a bit of a schedule now, like phase one, the first 10 games. That was a good thing, even though a lot of fans were like, well, how come we don't have a whole schedule? I think getting some sort of a schedule just to let people know, hey, we are going to play this year was very, very important.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, I mean, the simple answer is once the other teams commit, and everybody that's, I mean, obviously you'd have to have your head in the sand and not understand what's going on in the political world, and these arenas that are being held back in certain states that are not as open as others. So everybody's waiting and hoping that they can get more people in their buildings, to sell enough tickets to make a go of it. So that's why the schedule's not out yet, but it's going to be primarily in our division, and with no matter what it is, there's going to be overhead that we're going to try to keep down. So this is the year we're not going to be making trips to Florida and Toledo, and not that those teams reciprocate. I guess Florida does a little bit, but Toledo's been too important to come to our rink. But we're going to play a lot of and that's the nice thing about we're going to have a gritty team. I mean, Doty's back in the mix. He's talked to LA about coming and being assigned to us, and that's a rule that we're just waiting on to see if they're going to allow American League contracted players. So he tells me he's got the green light to come. So, that's another physical guy that we could be adding to the lineup.
Marty, as always, thank you very much. Two great signings this week. I know fans are excited, especially the return of a couple of veteran type players to add to an already good lineup. So good work.
Yeah, I'm excited. We still got more players to announce. So I'm excited where we're at, and can't wait to get the season started. I'm like the fans, man. I want to get playing again.
I like your shirt, by the way. You must have been out shopping this week without me. Usually you and I go do our shopping
I've
on the
had
road.
this years, Tommy.
What's that?
I had this shirt for a couple of years.
It's a good looking shirt. Should be out golfing. All right. Thanks, Marty.